Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. So today I just wanted to do a bit of a video on my time in the Disney College program, or what I actually did was the Disney Cultural Exchange program from Australia and New Zealand. I feel like there's not many videos on the Disney Cultural Exchange program, whereas there's heaps on the college program. And while it's not running at the moment, it's gonna come back eventually, I feel. Like the international programs will have to come back soon. I don't know about the cultural exchange programs, but we'll see. I'm hoping next year. Not that I can even come back. That's actually the number one thing with the cultural exchange programs. I'm not sure about all the international programs, but the cultural exchange programs, at least the Australia and New Zealand one, you can only do once, unless there is some crazy reason why you had to leave your program. It's always an exception if somebody comes back. But if you do the cultural exchange program from Australia or New Zealand, you can only do it once. It's not like the college program over here where you can apply and do it, 2 or 3 times throughout the time you're at college. It's kind of sad, but also I'll get to why it kind of makes sense. So the cultural exchange program is the version of the college program. So, okay, let's rewind. Okay, so Disney has a few different internships or programs that they run. You have the Disney College program, Disney Internship, the Disney International program, the Disney Culinary program, the Disney Cultural Exchange program, which is what I did. I believe at the moment, or when I did it, that's all there were. So when I did my college program, when I did my college program, we had the 4 housings, the Vista Way, the Commons, Chatham Square, and Patterson. I believe that was all of them, yeah. And if you did an international program, you had to stay at Disney housing. You didn't have a choice to stay anywhere else. I don't know if that's changed now. I don't know if that will change when it comes back. I believe if you did the actual Disney College program, you could choose to stay somewhere else. But with the international programs, we didn't have our own means of transportation. So they provided that all for us, which meant we had to stay at Disney housing. So I stayed at Vista Way in a room with 5 other girls that I'd never met before. Actually, it's a lie. I met one of them before. We met up as, we linked up as roommates, and she was the only person I knew coming over here. And the 6 of us lived together for 6 months, and then 3 of them went home, 3 of us stayed, and we did a year-long program. Because after about 3 or 4 months, you get given a choice as to whether you want to extend your program. You don't always get it. In my case, it was really strange. So a bunch of us applied, and I was a lifeguard. I did my college program. When I did my cultural exchange program, I was a lifeguard at Port Orleans Resort, specifically at Riverside. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I met Alex there. Obviously, what's not to love. But when we applied for our extensions, most people heard back in the first round. But everyone I knew that was a lifeguard did not hear back in the first round. And we all kind of panicked and thought, are we all going to be denied our extensions just because we're lifeguards? What the heck? In the second round, we all heard back. and we all got given our extension. So most people received their extension, but it was just like a really weird circumstance, like leading to us, none of us lifeguards receiving like our extension in the first round. Yeah, so I should go back to the beginning. I should go right the way back to the beginning. I actually initially heard about the Disney College program in my first year of university. I remember walking past a flyer at uni, talking about it, and I was like, that's really kind of cool. And after that, like, I always had it on my mind that I wanted to do a semester abroad. Not necessarily at Disney, I just wanted to do a semester abroad. So 2 years into uni, I'd completely forgotten about that. Completely. Like, yeah, no, I'd completely forgotten about it until halfway through my final year. So 3.5 years later, I had an ad come up on Facebook for the Disney internships and programs, and I had no idea what I was planning on doing after I finished my degree. So I was like, you know what, it doesn't hurt. Let's apply and we'll see what happens. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, it's no big deal. I figure out what I do after that. So, long story short, I went to the interview, blah, blah, blah. I ended up getting it. With the Australian and New Zealand cultural exchange program, it's 2 countries, and generally, I could be wrong, generally they take between 200 and 400 people. It's not a case of everyone gets accepted, I don't think, but I could be wrong. I also, could be wrong, and they could change that when it comes out next, but whatever. This is my experience. I don't really, yeah. I think, honestly, I don't think, okay. When you apply, you do a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a questionnaire type thing. And you submit your resume and everything, and then you get an email if you get an interview. I think that's when they cut a majority of people. And basically, I feel like if you get an interview, unless you're like an absolute psycho and it's obvious that you don't have any interest in Disney, or you don't like kids, or you're not a friendly person or anything like that, I think you get in. Like, if you get the interview, you get in my experience. Like, I remember basically most people that were, because they have a Facebook page. Each year there's always a Facebook page. And most people that are on that Facebook page end up getting through. Or at least that go to interviews end up getting through. So in my interview, I'm not going to go into my interview actually. If you want to hear about my interview, let me know. It was also like 3 years ago. It was a while ago. But if you do want to hear about my interview, let me know below, and I will do another video on the interviewing and the whole application process. And more in detail on that, whereas this is just an overview on everything. So I got to Disney, trying to figure out. Okay, so I had like, the beginning of my Disney college program was basically hell. Like, I hated it. I wanted to go home within a week. Because when you get there, or just before you get there, you get given all your dates and times of when things are happening. Like, so I was a lifeguard. I knew that before I went. You find out a few weeks before. So I was a lifeguard, and I had to take a drug test. And I'd never done drugs before in my life. Like, there was no way I wasn't going to clear a drug test. So I did my drug test my first day at housing, and I don't know whether they lost my results, what happened, but it took, I want to say, a week and a half for it to come back, whereas it should have taken like a day. Everyone else's took like a day, and that then delayed everything. So it delayed my traditions, it delayed all my big, like my intro classes and everything like that. So when all my roommates and my friends that I'd made were at traditions, I was sat in my apartment like crying to myself because I just wanted to be able to be a part of it and like get to see everything for the first time with the friends I'd made. Yeah, so like literally the day after traditions, they all had their IDs, they all went to Magic Kingdom, and I was sat there and I'm like, this sucks. Like, it really sucks. Like I remember literally wanting to go home. Like, I'm pretty sure I even looked at flights because I just didn't want to be there anymore. I was like, you know, if this is what my first week working for Disney is like, what the heck is the next 6 months gonna be like? It's just gonna suck. You know, in the end, I didn't have to take another drug test. Something happened. There was just some delay. I believe when I ended up contacting other people, there was like 2 other people that had had a similar delay, but they'd also had reasons behind their delays. Like, I think one was taking like medication that messed with the test or something like that. Like, it wasn't just a random, your test has been like lost, basically. So eventually I managed to take traditions. I was on my own. That was a whole lot of fun. Not. Yeah, most people, like, they took traditions, they absolutely like loved it. They got into whole Disney, like everything. And I was just, I'm not an extroverted person. I'm not the sort of person that is gonna end up like making friends with you if you're sat next to me. Nah, that's not for me. So I was alone the whole time and it was not fun. But we got through it all. We eventually got through it all, I should say. All my classes and everything. I remember like almost falling asleep in Welcome to Ops. Not that that's relevant at all, but I do remember it was very boring. You'd think, you know, you come to Disney, you get to go to Disney University, you get to take your intro classes to working for Disney, and you're just falling asleep because it's so boring. Yeah, just prepare yourself. But, you know, these things happen. Lucky for me, I actually had a friend that was a lifeguard, and although we should have been in the same Ellis class and traditions and everything else, we weren't. I ended up being like, everything got delayed, literally. It messed me up, like my whole timeline up big time. And sorry, got distracted. Yeah, so it messed my timeline up. But he ended up actually being able to help me get through it all, because I part of me didn't want to be a lifeguard. I didn't want that responsibility on me. I wasn't interested. But like with help of other people, I eventually got through it. And you know, eventually I ended up loving it. Actually, it was very quick, you know, I loved it almost immediately. But it was just getting through Ellis and everything else, and then on like my resort training, I can't remember what it's called. Like getting through all of that was just so stressful for me. Part of me was scared I was going to fail, and then part of me was considering actually failing so that I didn't have to be a lifeguard because it was so stressful. It was very stressful. I'm glad I didn't. I really am. Like, if I had have not become a lifeguard, I wouldn't have met Alex. I wouldn't have met a lot of people. So I'm very glad. Same with my extension. If I hadn't have taken my extension, I wouldn't be with Alex right now. It's crazy. Yeah, it's in my experience, the first few weeks working for Disney are quite stressful when you're on a cultural exchange program. I think partially as well because you are so far away from home. You know, if something goes wrong, you've spent possibly close to, you've probably spent between 5 and 10 grand getting there because you've got flights, you've got insurance that is compulsory to have specific insurance through Disney. You've got your rent, you've got to set up your apartment, you've got your visa, in my case, I live in Queensland, so I had to fly down to Sydney to get my visa, so I had flights there. What else? I'm forgetting things. There are program fees and things like that. Like, there are so many things you have to pay for before you even leave the country. And it's expensive. Like, you don't come on a cultural exchange program to Disney to make money. It doesn't happen. Like, I never worked it out, if I'm honest. I never worked out whether I made money. I didn't want to know in the end. I came away with about $50 in my bank account, but I never wanted to know whether I broke even or anything. Because if I didn't, I was just going to be mad at myself. So I didn't even bother. But the thing with the cultural exchange program is you're here to make memories. You're not here to, sit in your apartment all day doing nothing. You're there to see everything. You have free entry into Disney. Like, you're there to go experience that. Every month you have to do a cultural report. And that involves like doing a different activity each month or reporting a different activity. And that can be something as simple as going to Walmart. Because going to Walmart for the first time is absolutely insane. Like, I still talk to my mum about it, and she is like, I can't wait to go to Walmart again. Because it's crazy coming from somewhere like Australia and going to Walmart. Like, it's like nothing I've ever seen before. But yeah, like, it can be as simple as that. It can be something like having lunch with some American friends that you've made, or what else? I can't remember what else I did. I did one for Halloween, because Halloween, like, in America is so very different to Halloween in Australia. It's not as celebrated or exciting or themed in Australia as it is here. Oh my god, it's crazy. I love it over here. But like, there's just things like that. You do a report each month with something new that you've experienced culturally. I should have written notes, because I'm losing my train of thought way too easily. Cultural exchange program. It's, apart from the fact that you have to do a cultural report each month and you're coming from another country, it's basically the same as the college program. There isn't anything too different, at least from my understanding. You can take classes at Disney just like anyone else. Like, you can, like, once you're there, it's basically the same. It's just that cultural reporting that you have to do differently. And then again, the other international programs, I don't know if they have to even do that. I think it might just be the cultural exchange program that has to do that. So I spent a year working for Disney. When you do an extension, you do get the choice to apply for another location. You get the choice to either apply same role, same location, or same role, different location, I believe. Yes. And I loved Riverside. I wasn't too keen to give it up. I think I did consider doing same role, different location, but I wanted to guarantee I could get like Saratoga Springs or one of the deluxe resorts. I didn't want to, honestly, I didn't want to risk ending up being a lifeguard at All Stars. So I stuck with my location. I stuck with my role as well, just because I did love being a lifeguard. And there's this competition called ISOC for lifeguards, and I really wanted to be a part of that. So I thought, let's just stick it out. I'm glad I did. I wouldn't have, I met Alex. I actually met Alex my first day working at Riverside. My first day of training, I was put on stand, on train, it's, if you want a video explaining lifeguard training, please let me know below, because that's a whole nother thing. But basically, I was put on stand with Alex. I do not remember it. He remembers it. I was that scared and nervous and stressed that I do not remember it at all. But he remembers the first day he met me, which is good. At least one of us remembers it. He remembers the fact that I was on stand, and he said he tried to talk to me and I just wouldn't talk. Apparently, a lot of people were like, I don't know if they were scared of me or what it was when they first met me, because I don't smile much when I meet people, apparently. I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to smile more. But apparently, if I don't smile, I look kind of scary. So I'm trying to smile more. But yeah, Alex was part-time at Disney, or up until a few weeks ago, he was part-time at Disney. And he didn't work very often when there were college programs there. So with the CPs, it's kind of like full-timers get their pick, CPs fill in, and then if there's any gaps, part-timers get it. So he didn't really work very much. He worked when I first started training, and then I didn't see him for months. So I didn't really know he existed. I think when he did work, we didn't work at the same time. But it wasn't until, I want to say, July or June that we really started working together. And it wasn't until July that I started talking to him, I don't think. No, it must have been June. It wasn't until, June, we started kind of working together more, and I started talking to him, and the rest is history. But yeah. If I hadn't have done my extension, I would not. I'd love to know what my life would be like if I hadn't have extended. Or if I had have extended, but I hadn't have stayed a lifeguard at Riverside, or if I hadn't have stayed at Riverside, period. It's crazy. Very crazy. But yeah. So, okay. What else about the college program do you need to know? I don't really know. I don't know. One of the big things with at least my college program was I made some of the greatest friends. My roommates the first 6 months of my program are people that I know that I could call up right now, even though I've not spoken to some of them in months, and they would have my back no matter what. We were each other's family in the US because we were so far away from our own families. That's one thing that happened on my college program. My mum surprised me. Holy heck. A few weeks into my program, my mum was coming to a conference in Phoenix with her friend and decided that she should surprise me and not tell me that she's coming to a conference in Phoenix and stopping by Orlando first. You know what? I'm going to insert the video and let it speak for itself, because she scared the life out of me. I was in the shower when I got the call that there was some. Okay, so I had got home from work. I was exhausted, and I was in the shower, and there was a call on the phone, and my roommate came to the door of the bathroom, and she's like, "Georgia, there's someone at security, and they need you to go." And I'm like, what the heck? Like, I was in the middle of shampooing my hair. I was like, I just want to relax. Like, I was like, I'll go in a minute. No, not someone. They said something at security for me. And I was like, I'll go in a minute. And she said that to them, and they were like, no, you need to come now. So I was like, what is going on? Like, why am I in trouble? Like, what is happening? I literally finished showering as quickly as I could. Got out of the shower, my hair was still soaking wet. It was raining outside. I'm surprised I didn't get sick now I think of it. I think I had my lifeguard jacket on because it was the first thing I saw, and like track pants or something like that. And I walked down to security, and that's where the video is. Have fun.
Why? Why do we have to go in the water? Are you walking down here on your own, are you? Or... Oh, isn't it?
Okay, so now you've enjoyed that little piece of work. Yeah, like it ended up being an absolute pain that she'd surprised me. As much as I loved seeing my mom, I loved seeing Tanya. But I was actually scheduled to work every single day they were here. So I was like stressfully trying to get rid of my shifts and get people to cover them and like change things and whatnot. Lucky for me, some people were like super nice and took my shift straight away. Like when I explained that, my mom had surprised me from freaking Australia. Some people weren't so nice, but yeah. But it was crazy. Like I got to take her to the parks, and my parents went to Disney World for the first time, and the only time both of my parents went to Disney World with me was for the honeymoon. I was 18 months old, and there are cute little pictures of us in front of Spaceship Earth at Epcot. If I can find that picture, I'm going to insert it because it's adorable. But like being able to take my mom around after 20 years was crazy. Funnily enough, they actually went the year Animal Kingdom opened, and when she came second time, they were just finishing celebrating Animal Kingdom's 20th birthday. So, good timing, if you ask me. It was crazy. And I had so much fun being able to take her around the parks. She also came later in my program as well. Again, with Tanya. This time she didn't surprise me. Yeah, we made sure of that one. She was never allowed to surprise me again. She's been warned against it. But going around the parks for the first time by yourself or with friends is one thing, but being able to take your family around is it's like experiencing it again for the first time yourself, even if you've already been a few times. Like, being able to see how, because Tanya had never been either. So it was crazy. I loved it. I love taking new people around the parks just because I love seeing the excitement on their faces. And I mean, when we went to Disneyland a few weeks ago, that was me. Like the entire time I had like the biggest smile on my face. And I was so excited. Like if you listen to the videos, you can just hear me being like, oh my God, like I'm actually here. But like seeing that in other people, it's something else. I love it. It's not the point of this video at all. It just makes me miss my mom. But yeah, no, I don't really know where else I've got to go with this college program video. So if you do have any questions about the college programs, any questions about the cultural exchange programs, international programs, whatever it'll be, the only thing I know nothing about is the internships and the culinary programs. But leave me a message below, a comment below, not a message below. Leave me a comment below. And I will possibly do another video answering any questions people have, because I love talking about this. My Disney college program was possibly one of the best years of my life. So it has completely changed my life. Like, if I hadn't have done the Disney college program, my life would be very different right now. I don't even know where I'd be. But, like, it did change my life. And I'm very appreciative of that. So I'm happy to answer any questions about it. Yeah, like this video, put any comments down below, subscribe to me so that if I do another college program video, you can see it. And yeah, thank you for watching.